Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump has called on President Biden to resign in disgrace over the absolute collapse and catastrophe taking place in Kabul. And this didn't have to happen. Would the country have fallen? Yeah, that was 20 years ago. The people who, like Max Cleland, Senator Max Cleland, the same people that the Lincoln Project pundits tried to disparage and silence. The Lincoln Project, the good Republicans that are retweeted by Hollywood liberals and good morally superior liberals, the Bill Kristol and Lincoln Project people who worked for the Bush administration pushing a marriage amendment, who were opposed to marriage equality. Interestingly enough, they're not canceled. Gee, I wonder why. It's almost as if Democrats and media and morally superior apoplectic liberals only cancel people that they find reprehensible or that, said something in a tweet 10 years ago. But for the international relations scholars, quote unquote, the pundits who have aligned the conservatives who have aligned themselves with the Democratic Party, the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld foreign policy hawks like Kristol and Lincoln Project, these are the people who are to blame entirely for everything. It was a counterinsurgency conflict from the very beginning. There is no way there's never been ever a successful counterinsurgency conflict ever in the history of mankind. And if you point to here it worked here, well, at the end of the day, that country became independent eventually anyway. So there has never been a successful counterinsurgency conflict, and that is not the fault of the brave American men and women who we sent to implement our foreign policy. God bless the people of Afghanistan as well. God bless all the veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan. And God bless your families. America can never repay everything that you've done to keep us safe and prosperous. And there's no words to really describe what's going on today. We didn't know the past 4 years of President Trump prior to Biden's administration. The past 4 years of President Trump, the biggest problem was his tweets. Now you have soaring inflation, crime exponentially increasing throughout the country. Look at the data. You say, well, in the 90s were worse. Okay, well, in some locations, it's even worse than it was in the 90s. You can look at the country where we're at now. Do you miss Trump yet? I do. Do you miss Trump's tweets with the record low unemployment and the stock market is not a great indicator, but we had record highs in the stock market, wages increasing, and then you got the petulant skeptics or naysayers or critics. Oh, well, what about real wages? How are real wages now? How's foreign policy now? We live in a dystopian, nightmarish world now, and this is exactly what morally superior liberals wanted. All the Hollywood producers and directors and everybody who didn't like Trump, he's a despot, he's an authoritarian. Despots and authoritarians, you ignorant imbeciles, didn't just tweet. They actually had control of the media narrative, they had control of their intelligence services, and they voted for mass incarceration and never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts or never-ending military conflicts. Look at what's taking place now. The American embassy in that country could have already been evacuated May 1st, 2021. Before May 1st, what was the point in keeping us there? You had people like on MSNBC now, they're turning on Trump, but this is like the ignorance is unbelievable. Like, you're on the wrong side of history with Trump. It's like, no, you are on the wrong side of history. You know nothing about history. You're like completely, you've no knowledge base. You're completely ignorant when it comes to history. You're talking about the most narcissistic, arrogant, foolish, overconfident people who think that they know everything and they're proven wrong every single time on every major issue. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Tell your friends about this channel. Biden should resign. He won't. He should be impeached. He can't. The Republicans don't have the House. They impeached Trump for pressuring Zelensky. You think maybe the fall and the complete collapse going on right now in that country, a country we've been in for 20 years, you think maybe that's worse than pressuring Zelensky? Do you think maybe Trump being a Russian operative isn't that bad anymore, which, by the way, he never was? You think all of the apoplectic, hysterical, paranoid fever dreams of morally superior Democrats, Trump said this, he tweeted this, no, despot, he's an authoritarian. Do you miss him yet? Liberals who used to watch The Apprentice, and then suddenly, I guess, grew this moral code where they opposed Trump. The biggest hypocrites on the planet. This is entirely Biden's fault. Trump negotiated a deal to get us out of that country, where the adversaries in that country that are taking over the country now said, okay, May 1st, 2021, get your things in order, get everybody evacuated. We're not going to do anything until then. The notion that they wouldn't take over the country is absurd. Of course they would. Trump knew this also. You think Trump and Pompeo didn't know this? I'm not the biggest fan of Pompeo at all. Okay? You think that President Trump and his administration didn't know the country would fall when we left? Of course. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with getting Americans out of the city. That we saw the same thing happen in Saigon. We learned in Vietnam. The French learned before us. Cheney, Bush, Rumsfeld, the Lincoln Project people, all the conservatives who don't like Trump, these are the people who got us into these never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. The never-Trumpers. If January is Trump's fault, which it isn't, then Bill Kristol, the Lincoln Project, Biden, these people are 100% to blame for what's taking place. Notice the difference, though. They pontificate and preach and give these sermons about how horrible Trump is. And every major fiasco, catastrophe, global disaster, from impeaching Trump to because he pressured Zelensky. And now we know that his son was introducing business associates to his father, who was vice president, in the emails. There are 3 laptops floating around. And the system, the corruption, the inept nature of democratic politics, the vapid, hollow, shallow, superfluous nature of democratic politics. You said this, you did this. This is you were a Russian operative. You're working for Russia. You're helping Putin. Well, Kabul fell. The country, the economy is in the tank. Inflation, prices are rising. You stink at governing. You've done nothing in the House except impeach Trump twice. You didn't pass Medicare for All legislation because you lied. You didn't pass Green New Deal legislation because you don't even think it's feasible. You don't believe in any of the nonsense. Climate change, yes, is important. Democrats have 0 policies to combat climate change. Even Kerry said if us and the largest country in the world went 0 emissions, it still wouldn't make a difference. So I don't know what they're talking about. You have completely inept narcissists running the show, and we'll wait until 2022. And the Kentucky senator and Jim Jordan and Devin Nunes and Trump Republicans are coming to town. And thank God, we had a great economy. We had a great country. Like the slogan is like a vapid political slogan, but it was great. Now we live in a dystopian, a nightmare, and it's getting worse every day. And God bless the veterans of this country. Doesn't matter if you like Biden or Trump, God bless you. We owe you a debt of gratitude forever. God bless the people of Afghanistan. You can thank the Lincoln Project. You could thank Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. You could thank Kerry and Clinton and Biden and Democrats for all of this chaos. Give me your thoughts below. They should have just simply abided by the negotiated deal. The country would have fallen anyway, but at least we would have had time to bring home everyone. It would have been a simple withdrawal. Now it's like complete utter chaos. Give me your thoughts below. This is Biden's disaster. Yes, Democrats, you are controlling everything now. And from the economy to crime to inflation to foreign policy, it's been Biden's administration has been an unmitigated disaster. The only people that are happy are Hollywood celebrities and people who don't like Trump's tweets. For everyone else who lives in the real world, it's an unmitigated catastrophe. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.